esteem and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach. John 5 and 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. To Abba there is one that accuse you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? So, with that being stated, that first thing in John 5:39, he told you to search the scriptures because you think you got eternal life, and they're bearing witness of him who is the holder and giver and manifester of eternal life. So let's take ourselves back to 1 Thessalonians 4 and 13, of which we discussed last night. Let us do that. 1 Thessalonians 4 and 13. Let us do that. It says, but I would not have you ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that you sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. Now, why is this important? We look at even as others who have no hope. He said that you wouldn't sorrow. Pause. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 9. Zechariah chapter 9. That's what we need to do. After we look at Zechariah chapter 9, I believe I want to go to Matthew chapter 9. Zechariah chapter 9. I'll get there eventually. I will get there eventually. And praise Yah, we have made it. Zechariah 9 and 9. I don't know, it wasn't mine, kid. I was there when I returned. I bought cheesecake, not cookies. What kind of cookies?
Sugar, right up your alley.
Hey, I ate 2 sugars and left it alone. So ha ha, ha ha. Ha ha. Zechariah 9 and 9. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king come unto thee. He is just, having salvation, lowly, riding upon an ass, and upon a colt before of an ass. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak shalom unto the heathen, and his dominion from the river even to the ends of their rats. As for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein is no water. Turn you to the stronghold, you prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. So the prisoners of hope is sitting back looking at, because they didn't have any hope. And why did they didn't have any hope? Because they were prisoners in a pit which didn't have any water. So he told you not to. Paul wrote that you shouldn't sorrow as others who have no hope. Why do these people have no hope? I'll show you why they ain't got no hope. Job chapter 24, I go to Matthew chapter 9. I'm gonna show you why they ain't got no hope. I just told Nick earlier, I hate old hypocrite, nigga. I hate wicked bastards to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? I hope he set you on fire and then wake you up and set your wicked behind on fire again. Rip your testicles off, stick all types of swords in your stomach and in your chest, because you are no good bastard. And why do I feel like this? Because Yahuwah hates everything that is evil. And if he told you, you that love Yahuwah, love the good and hate the evil. Ain't nowhere in the world you love Yahuwah and love evil. That just don't make no sense. Where is the verse that I require? And I've been looking right at it. There we go. Let's start at verse 1. Job 20 and 1. This is one of Job's friends talking. He really trying to down talk Job, but that ain't what we hear. Then answered Zophar the Naamathite and said, therefore do my thoughts cause me to answer, and for this I make haste. I've heard the check of my reproach, and the ruach of my understanding calls me to answer. Know thou this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. That's why they don't have no hope, because everything they got going on is short, and it's just for a moment. See, you don't even really sit back and look at that. See, hold on, let me show you why. Before we go any further, before I get in Matthew 9, because it just popped in my head. Luke chapter 9. I didn't want to look at something that Mashiach told you people. Then after Luke chapter 9, go to Matthew chapter 22. And for Matthew 22, Isaiah 26. Luke chapter 9, right? Verse 57. Verse 57. See, a lot of people, man, I just be sitting back looking at people, man. I watched a dude, he told some true stuff. He ain't say nothing wrong, but I ain't hear the name of Yah esteemed or extolled not nan time. And that's what people's problem is. That's what everybody's problem is. That's why people be doing the stuff they doing. They don't believe in Yah. They don't fear him. They don't trust him, and they ain't got no hope in him. That's why when people die, niggas sitting around here looking stupid. How you trust in the living Elohim and you walk in him and you fear death? That don't even make any sense. You can't be no son of Elohim and fear death. Because that means you don't believe the consolation, the reward, and the comfort he gave to her for that. And we're going to get to that in a moment. Yes, Martha. Go sit down. And it came to pass that as they went in the way, a certain man said unto him, Master, I will go with thee, I will follow thee wheresoever thou go. Yahushua said unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man have not where to lay his head. He said unto another, Follow me. But he said, Master, suffer me first to go and bury my Abba. Yahushua said unto him, Let the dead bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of Elohim. So let's just focus on this here. And we didn't talk about this before. He said, Let the dead bury the dead. Now we turn around and we look at this and we don't understand it, right? Now I'm going to tell you like this here, right? Ain't nothing wrong if you want to go to a service of somebody who was in your family that wasn't in the word. But let's look at the significance of this man's words. He said, let the dead bury the dead. So clearly in his word usage to this individual, he's trying to make a delineation or a separation between him and other people. Why would he say, let the dead bury the dead? Matter of fact, I'm going to get Luke 9. I'm going to get Matthew 9, and I'm going to get Isaiah 26 in a minute. I'm going to get Matthew 22 in a minute, but I need to go over here to Psalms 119. I need to go over to Psalms 119. I need to go to Psalms 119 and 50. That's what I need to do. See, this is why they dead. This is why they ain't got no hope. Now, if you serve Yahuwah, you shouldn't be in that type of case. This shouldn't be, make it verse 49. Psalms 119 and verse 49. This shouldn't be the case for you. This shouldn't be the case for you. He said, remember the word unto thy servant upon which thou hast caused me to hope. Now he asked him to remember the word to his servant, which his servant has placed his hope in. We know hope is the evidence of things hoped for, the things not seen. Well, that's faith. And without faith, it's impossible to please him.
119.
Yeah, 119 and 49. It's impossible to please him. See, a lot of people want to seek and they want to please Yah with this and with that, but yet he said, the word unto that, remember the word, remember the promise of which you've caused me to hope. See, the law don't give you no cause to hope. Remember, he told you not to sorrow as those who have no hope. He said, remember the word unto thy servant upon which thou called me to hope. Look what he said, this is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word have quickened me. So we know quicken means to make alive, or the kai. C-H-Y, cot and yod, a separation of the right hand, the separation of Yahushua. This is what caused you to hope. This is what makes you alive. He said, this is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word have quickened me. If you remember unto the word unto your servant, which you promised me in the first place. So then when we look at this here, again, he's saying that we should not sorrow as others who have no hope. Well, your hope is in his word. And what did he promise you? And we're going to get to what he promised you. Matter of fact, come over here to Psalm 119. We still in Psalms 119. Let's take a look at about verse 75. Matter of fact, just go and make it verse 73. It ain't going to hurt nothing. Thy hands have made me and fashioned me and given me understanding, that I may learn thy commandments. They that fear thee will be glad when they see me, because I have hoped in thy word. I know, O Yahuwah, that thy judgments are right, and that in faithfulness has afflicted me. Now, we could take this in a lot of different directions, and I ain't trying to be all night, but I'm going to be as thorough as possible. So the first thing it says, they that fear thee will be glad when they see me, because they hoped in thy word. What does that take us to? Let's pause and take a look in Luke chapter 24. That those, when they saw them, they were glad because they hoped in the word. See, a lot of people don't hope in the word, man. And see, sometimes when you focus on that and mention that, they think that you may be taken away from other things as if they're less important. And those things are not necessarily less important. But if you don't have a hope, trust, belief, and desire to draw near to Elohim, you wasted your time. This word is not going to do anything for you. It's not going to benefit you. Because as a Mashiach stated, when the Son of Man returns, will he find faith on the earth? As Yahuwah stated, these are children in whom have no faith. Luke chapter 24, verse 17. And he said unto them, what manner of communications are these that you walk one to another as ye walk and are sad? And one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answering, said unto him, art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem, and hast not known the things which are come to pass there in these days? And he said unto them, what things? And they said unto him concerning Yahushua of Nazareth, which was a prophet mighty in deed and word before Elohim and all the people, and how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death and have crucified him. But we trusted that it had been he which had redeemed Yasharal. And besides all this, today is the third day since these things were done. So when we look at this here, they did hope in his word because they said we trusted that he would be the one to redeem it. That's what it say, right? Now let's come over here to John chapter 20, because we're still dealing with this same concept. Now, this is Yahushua talking to them in Luke 24, after he resurrected from the dead. They didn't recognize him. Let's come over here to John chapter 20. Let's take a look at John chapter 20, pick it up at about verse 2. John 20 and 2. I don't want to read all that, but I ain't got no choice. Then she run and come to Simon Peter and to the other disciple whom Yahushua loved, and saith unto them, they have taken away the master out of the sepulchre. We know not where they have laid him. Peter therefore went forth, and the other disciple came to the sepulchre. So they ran both together, and the other disciple did outrun Peter and came first to the sepulchre. And he, stooping down, looking in, saw the linen clothes lying, yet went he not in. Then comes Simon Peter following him, and he went into the sepulchre and see the linen clothes lie, and the napkin that was about his head not lying with the linen clothes, but wrapped together in a place by itself. Then went in also that other disciple which came first to the sepulchre, and he saw and believed. For as yet they knew not the scripture, that he must rise again from the dead. They didn't know that. As forth as the word bear witness to that. So their only hope was in what? That he told them on the third day he would resurrect from the dead. So when we turn around and we see that they that fear thee will be glad when they see me, because I've hoped in thy word, were not the disciples glad when they saw him? Well, let's go back in Luke 24 and see if they were glad once they recognized him. Luke chapter 24, verse 29. But they constrained him, saying, abide with us, for it is towards evening, and the day is far spent. And he went in to tarry with them. And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took bread and baruched it, and brake and gave to them. And their eyes were opened, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight. Then they said one to another, did not our heart burn within us when he talked with us by the way, and while he opened to us the scriptures? And they rose up the same hour and returned to Jerusalem, and found the 11 gathered together, and them that were with them, saying, the master is risen indeed, and have appeared unto Simon. And they told what things were done in the way, and how he was known of them in breaking of bread. Then of course he appeared unto them again, and they were happy. Why? Because again, they didn't know the scripture said he was going to resurrect from the dead. You can come back to Psalms 119, verse 74. But they hoped and trusted in the word that he spoke to them. Now remember, he said, ye prisoners of hope, he's brought you out of the pit where there was no water. He said, we should not sorrow as others who have no hope. This is one of the reasons why Yahushua upbraided them, because of the hardness of their heart and their unbelief. If we believe Yahushua rose from the dead, which we're going to get to and explain more thoroughly by the time we get finished, then we should have hope and no sorrow in our hearts that we won't raise from the dead. That's why we focused on the words of Martha last night, and we're going to focus on them again. Verse 75 in Psalms 119. He said, I know, O Yahuwah, that thy judgments are right, and thou in faithfulness has afflicted me. See, that takes us back to what we know in Hebrews chapter 12. He chastens those whom he loves. 76. Let, I pray thee, thy merciful kindness be for my comfort, according to the word unto thy servant, and let thy tender mercies come unto me, that I may live, for thy Torah is my delight. So now he said his merciful kindness be for your comfort. Pause. John chapter 3, Verse 14. What is his merciful kindness which should be for your comfort? See, everybody play these games with the word Israel this, Israel that. People dying. And I ain't talking about in the grave neither. Verse 14 of John chapter 3. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believe in him should not perish, but have eternal life. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For Elohim sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believe on him is not condemned, but he that believe not is condemned already, because he have not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Elohim. Why is this important? Your tender mercies, being your comfort, your merciful kindness, being your comfort. Well, so we might as well. Ain't no time to play around with it. Come on to John chapter 5. I ain't got to go in no particular. Y'all willing? It all makes sense by the time we get finished. John chapter 5, verse 24. He said, truly, truly, I say unto you, he that hear my word and believe on him that sent me have everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Truly, truly, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and they shall live. Now let's go over here to Matthew 22, what I mentioned before. He said the dead will hear them, hear his voice and live. But we need to remember something. After we read Matthew 22, we'll come over here to Isaiah chapter 8. Praise y'all for the word. It's always good to hear the word. Ain't never a bad time for it. Shoot, Paul told Timothy, preach in season, out of season, make no difference. Ain't never a bad time for it. It's only a bad time for the wicked. 22 and 29. Matter of fact, 22 and 28. Matthew 22 and 28. Therefore, in the resurrection, hold on. See, let's look at something first. Just a little bit. We ain't going to another chapter. Verse 23. The same day they came to him, the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him. Sadducees ain't believe nobody was resurrected from the dead. I believe a lot of niggas walking around here now don't believe nobody resurrecting from the dead. You know what niggas doing? We'll know what niggas doing. Niggas out here living their best life. You don't know why niggas living their best life? Because they living the life y'all want them to live. Some people living for the pure purpose of going to hell. Some people living for the pure purpose that the power, esteem, and salvation of Elohim can be manifested through them, that all men may know that Yahuwah is the true and living Elohim, and Yahushua HaMashiach is his only begotten Son, who came to bring forth salvation and everlasting life unto all that believe on his name. Period. So you need to sit back and think about this here, because we just talking about this. I mean that, boy, my best life is to serve Yahuwah in every aspect of it. I'm not here to live for myself. I'm not here to live for myself. And I think that's where we get the whole game twisted up. You think you here for you. You think you were created to do what you want to do and live how you want to live. You was created for the esteem of your Elohim. Now, is it the esteem that his power might be known in you through his wrath? Or is it the esteem that his power might be known in you through his salvation? That's for you to choose. Verse 28 now. Matthew 22. That's for you to choose. I can't choose that for you. You need to sit back and think about that as you make your decisions and make your moves. You know what I'm saying? Who you live for. What's your number one concern for? My only concern is to live for Yahuwah. I could care less about anything else in this life, as long as it bring honor and esteem to his name. Hamashiach already asked you, what profit is it if you gain the whole world and lose your soul? What gain you get to do everything you want and you bust hell wide open. You can't be that stupid. You can't be that dumb. Because that means you ain't had no hope. You wasn't really confident by them words. You wasn't really hoping on them words. You wasn't looking for that merciful kindness and salvation. You thought it was a joke in the game. You like the servants in Luke. My master delayeth his coming. I'm going to get drunk and beat the man servants and the maid servants and eat and drink. That's what you thought it was. You like your ancestors in the wilderness. You rose up to play because you thought it was a game. 22nd chapter. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the seven? For they all had her. Yahushua answered and said unto them, you do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of Elohim. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but as the Malachim of Elohim and Shamahim. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have you not read, that which was spoken unto you by Elohim, saying, I am the Elohim of Abraham, I'm the Elohim of Isaac, I'm the Elohim of Jacob. Elohim is not the Elohim of the dead, but of the living. And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. You know why they were astonished? Because this man just told him somebody that was dead was alive. They couldn't understand that. That takes us back to what we were looking at in Luke when he said, let the dead bury the dead. But why that Paul? Come over here to 1 Peter. I'm going to come to Isaiah 20, chapter 8 in a minute. Come over here to 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 1. Again, we talking about, we ain't got no business sorrowing this though. Guess what, right? It's somebody in the world just buried somebody today, and then they going to bury somebody tomorrow, and they going to bury somebody on Shabbat, and all these people ain't got no comfort for their souls because they ain't got no hope in nothing. We ain't supposed to be that way. Not saying we believe in Yahuwah. We ain't supposed to be that way. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 21. Make it 1 and 18. We ain't supposed to be that way. I'm just letting that be known. We ain't supposed to be that way. We supposed to have a better hope than that. I want to make sure that y'all know that we are holding Isaiah chapter 8, Isaiah chapter 26, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. I got Matthew 22. I'm good in Zechariah chapter 9. And we got Job 20. Nah, I'm good with Job 20. Got Isaiah 8, Isaiah 26, and 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. I missed anything? What I missed?
Psalms 119.
Yeah, we got Psalms 119. I appreciate it. I definitely forgot. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 18. For as much as you know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things as silver and gold from the vain behavior received by tradition from your fathers, but with the precious blood of a Mashiach as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. Now, I want to clarify my statement and make it clear. Ain't nothing wrong with learning the history and the culture of our people, but it seems like that's all these stupid niggas want to talk about, not realizing you received vain conduct and behavior from these men. They brought death to you. Why did they bring death to you? Because they disobeyed, because they were unbelieving. And I'm not going to revel in that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to revel in my God, who was faithful in all things that he did to redeem us from death. I think we overlook it because I don't think we want to live. A lot of people want to live. Not live forever anyway. Who truly was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you, who by him do believe in Elohim, that raised him up from the dead and gave him esteem, that your faith and hope might be in Elohim. See, that's why you ain't supposed to be sorrowing that people ain't had no hope, because this man who you believe in Elohim, because he rose Yahushua from the dead and gave him esteem, that your faith and hope might always be in Yah. Never in man, never in yourself, always in Elohim. Seeing you have purified your souls in their obeying the truth through the Ruach under unfeigned love of the brethren, see that you love one another with a pure heart fervently, being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of Elohim, which live and abide forever. For as all flesh is as grass, and the esteem of man as the flower of grass, the grass wither, and the flower thereof fall away. But the word of Yahuwah endure forever. And this is the word which by the gospel is preached unto you. And see, that's the difference. Hey, Shirley. Wait, what?
Oh, that's not even a joke. Oh, God. Sorry.
It's all right.
Man, it didn't smell like this. Yeah. I bet. It definitely smells like yeah. It's a trash thing,
Very nevertheless. I'll let y'all sort that out. My smell, since the smell is atrocious.
You don't smell it?
No, I don't.
Maybe it's just a woman thing.
It's quite popular.
You know how your house is supposed to smell.
Nevertheless. The word abides forever. Yahushua made a statement unto us. You can come back to Psalms 119. Well, let's get Isaiah chapter 8. Yahushua made a statement. I forgot what it was. His statement was, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are ruach and they are life. Because with the word, you got to realize something. Yah can't die. He lives forever. Matter of fact, since I said that, come over here to Deuteronomy 32.
Why isn't it the screen showing up on YouTube? It says you on live, but
I don't know.
you can't find the video.
I cannot answer that question. Unfortunately, I don't know anything on that side of the game. Hey, Shirley. Hey, Shirley. They got you out here like you got bunny here, Shirley. I know. Deuteronomy 32, verse 44. Not 44. I'm finna get it. I'm finna read Deuteronomy 32 first. Deuteronomy 32 and 39 is what I require. And then Isaiah chapter 8. See now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive, I wound and I heal, and neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to Shamahim and say I live forever. Now Yahuwah say he lived forever. So since Elohim can't die and the word comes from him and he lives forever, and that word endures to many generations, if that word is inside of you, then you live forever, which takes us back to what we read in Psalms 119, that I hope on your word, that I'm quickened by your word. And that's where we get our comfort from. People who ain't in you, don't believe in you, who wouldn't serve you, who wouldn't believe his word, they ain't got no hope. That's why they ain't got no comfort. Isaiah chapter 8. We ain't supposed to be walking around here hopeless. Because if we walk around here hopeless, that means we didn't believe nothing that he promised us. And he said, you believe on Elohim through Yahushua HaMashiach, who gave you the power to become the sons of Elohim, not by the will of man, not by blood, but by Elohim. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 19. Listen to what he tell you. He said, well, they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter. Should not a people seek unto their Elohim for the living to the dead? Should not, and that's a whole key thing. Your Elohim lives. And that's who we should be seeking unto. That's why he told them, let the dead bury the dead. You should be seeking to them that is alive versus those that are dead. Verse 20. To the Torah and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it's because there is no light in them. So let's swing over here to chapter 26 and knock that out.
Check the oven.
Oh, you all right? You ain't bother me now. Isaiah chapter 26, right? Oh, yeah. Can't leave no meat out. Isaiah 26 and 11. Yahuwah, when thy hand is lifted up, they will not see, but they shall see and be ashamed, for the envy at the people. Yea, the fire of thy enemies shall devour them. Yahuwah, thou wilt ordain shalom for us, for thou also hast wrought all our works in us. O Yahuwah, Elohim, other masters have had, besides thee, have had dominion over us. But by thee only will we make mention of thy name. They are dead, and they shall not live. They are deceased, and they shall not rise. Therefore thou hast visited and destroyed them, and made all their memory to perish. Look at what he said. They're dead, and they shall not live. They are deceased. Well, why is this the case? Revelation chapter 20. Revelation 20 and 4. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of Elohim, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with a Mashiach 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Baruch and Kadesh is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be the priest of Elohim and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Come on back to Isaiah 26. So what do we see here? They're dead and they shall not live. They don't have no hope. So once they hit the grave, they done, and they're not resurrected. Verse 15. No, I don't need verse 15. Come on over here to about verse 17. Like as a woman with child that draw near to the time of her delivery is in pain and cry out in her pangs, so have we been in thy sight, O Yahuwah. So we mentioned that last night in Job 23. Let me get that first verse in Job 23. Right there in Job 23, when Job said, even today is my complaint bitter and my stroke is heavier than my groan. He made his request known to Elohim, and we looked and seen that Yahushua did the same thing. And Yahuwah was merciful in the end because he is faithful as he has promised. Now we come back and we finish verse 18. We have been with child and we've been in pain. We have as it were brought forth with wind. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. Thy dead men shall live together with my dead body, shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust, for thy dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. So then he said, your dead men will live with my dead body. Why? Let's go to Romans chapter 6. After Romans chapter 6, back to Psalms 119. Romans 6 and 4. Well, Romans 6 and 3. Know ye not that so many of us were immersed into Yahushua HaMashiach, were immersed into his death? Therefore we are buried with him by immersion into death, that like as a Mashiach was raised up from the dead by the esteem of Abba, even so we should also walk in newness of life. For if we've been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection. Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. For he that is dead is freed from sin. But why is this important? Remember, he said that he hoped in his word, and that gave him comfort. Yahushua told his apostles regularly that he would resurrect from the dead. That is the word that he hoped upon. Therefore, he tried to comfort them with it. Of course, they didn't know that the scripture bear witness that he would resurrect from the dead. So they didn't know it, and therefore they doubted. Now we've decided, we have evidence by what is left in the Gospels and the epistles that the apostles wrote, that we should not have any doubts or worries or concerns about being resurrected of the dead, but we have the fullness of the mystery of Elohim before our face. Yahushua told Thomas that, blessed are your eyes, for you have seen, but blessed are those who have believed and have not seen. Some people gonna actually have to see this man come back before they believe that he resurrected from the dead. But if you believe the Torah and you believe the prophets and you believe the Gospels and then the epistle letters that support the accounts that were laid out in the three things that I just mentioned, then you should have comfort in your heart that Elohim is faithful and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Let's take ourselves to Hebrews chapter 6, about verse 16, before we journey back over here to Psalm 119. Elohim told us that he is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of a man that he should repent, and that if he said it, shall he not do it. He just told you thy dead men would live with his dead body, and that the earth would cast out the dead. So the problem is, do we believe that? And that we ought to comfort one another with those very words. He said that's what he was going to do. That's exactly what he going to do. 6 and 16. Matter of fact, make it 6 and 14, or 6 and 13, because we read about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They didn't resurrect from the dead. They didn't see the promise, yet they did not deviate from it because they were fully persuaded of it. We'll look in Hebrews chapter 11 since we're here after we read chapter 6. For when Elohim made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, surely blessing I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. So again, we know that patience is one of the fruits of the Ruach. Those who are of Elohim will exhibit the patience of Elohim, and they will wait for him. They will endure from him, whatever it is that they have to endure. That's what we started looking at with Job. Job went all through all that, like we mentioned last night, right? And I told y'all this before. Satan be in heaven accusing everybody. Everybody. He go to Elohim and say, after you put him in this situation, I bet he do this. If you put him in this situation, I bet he curse you to your face. Do you know what I'm saying? I bet he do it. Because at the end of the day, Satan don't trust in Elohim, and he definitely don't want you to do it. So he feel like that's the most worst type of individual. But I can tell you this, like we went over that last night, What I told you, what he said in Job. What did y'all say to Job, Will, when Satan asked that to him? You remember what he said?
What Satan said to Job?
Well, no, when Satan said, "Let me get him," he said, "Have you not considered?" Now I'm gonna ask y'all this. I don't know why y'all think y'all asked him that. Have you not considered Job? Shayla, you know why you think he asked Satan that?
Because he knew that Job was faithful.
All right, Deidre, why you think he asked him that? Is that he knew he wasn't gonna fold? You know why y'all see? I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it in a moment. He told you in the 17th chapter of Jeremiah that blessed is the man who trusteth in Yahuwah, who made Yahuwah his arm. He told him he'd make him like the tree of life and plant him by the fountains of living waters, or those rivers that's in New Jerusalem, like we were discussing how he would make Jerusalem like the Garden of Eden. He said, but cursed be the man who trusteth in man who make flesh his arm, because he'll be written in the earth. And he's saying, I, Yahuwah, try the reins and give every man according to his works. So y'all already knows who gonna do what and who ain't gonna do what, who gonna be faithful, who not gonna be faithful. But you gotta try him. See, you gotta remember, Satan means what, Deidre? What does Satan mean? So all he's there is to try you. Ain't that's what an adversary do? So that's all he's there for. He don't serve no other purpose. Yeah, he a wicked bastard. You know what I'm saying? But all he there is to try you. Yahushua got tried. He got tempted. He got tested. I don't know why any of us think anything any different.
And y'all said,
Have you considered?
have you considered Job?
He said he's a perfect and upright man in the shoe evil. He said you put a hedge around him. If you touch everything he got, I bet he curse you to your face. He said go ahead. You can touch everything he got. Just don't take his life. That's what he told him. So you know what ended up happening to Job? He lost everything he had and all his kids died. And you know what Job did? Not only that, but when he got word of all that there, he fell on the ground. He said, naked I came in the world, and naked I shall leave. Yahuwah giveth, and Yahuwah taketh away. And he bowed down and worshiped Yahuwah. And he's saying through all that, Job didn't sin with his mouth. You know what the average person do when it? Because and you know why he had that? Because he was comforted from the word that y'all spoke to him. Therefore, he had hope because he knew the word. See, it's somebody who don't have the word. They don't have that type of hope. They don't have that type of comfort. So you know what they do? They curse him. You know what they do? Let me go get high. Let me go get drunk. Let me go participate in promiscuous behavior. Let me do anything that'll comfort my flesh because I don't have no comfort in Yahuwah. That's why he said, let the dead bury the dead. And they ain't got no life in him, so what you worried about him for? He ain't got no life in him. The nigga he buried ain't got no life in him. What you concerned with that for? Go preach the gospel. That's what he told him. Because you worried about the wrong thing. You worried about the wrong thing. See, we don't look at it in that aspect. That's why we're looking at what we're looking at. Just bear with me. I ain't but 37 minutes in. I might take another 30 to 40 minutes. Those who had the word, that's again, we going back to 1 Thessalonians. He told you don't sorrow like those who ain't got no hope. Like I told you, somebody finna bury somebody tomorrow. Somebody bury somebody today. Somebody gonna bury somebody on Saturday. I don't know if people bury people on Sunday, but they probably do. And guess what? All them people gonna be sad because they ain't got no hope. That nigga, why you think when niggas die, he looking down on me? Because you know that nigga going to hell. You already know they going. So you trying to convince yourself of that. You ain't got no hope for yourself because you know you going. Those who are the Kased or the sanctified ones of Elohim, we don't have that type of problem. Remember we read in John chapter 11, where what Martha said when Yahushua told her she see her brother. What did Martha say to him? You remember what he said to him?
I know that I see him.
You know what it said? She didn't say, I think, I hope. She said, I know. Not only did she say that she knew that she would see him again, but you not realize in her statement she knew that she was going to resurrect from the dead and her brother was going to resurrect from the dead. Now, why would she have that level of confidence? So, I'm talking about those who die in Yahuwah. If one of us die, of course you're going to be sad. But then you have to sit back and think about it. What am I sad for? I'm going to see him again in his kingdom. So I ain't got no reason to be sad. Like he told them in Revelation 6, right, who was up under the thing. He told them to do what? Rest for a little season.
I'm not sad that I feel like in this situation with grandma, I'm not sad that she died. I'm sad the fact that she's going to heaven.
I ain't even sad about that.
I mean, it's just, dang, dog. You at your rope. Like,
But that's where she was supposed to go.
you can't make up for this.
Just like he mentioned today, she served her purpose in life. Her purpose in life was to do all the natural things she did and to bust hell wide open. Do you know what I'm saying? Straight them down. I just said, we were talking about that earlier, right? Paul made that statement, I finished the course. See, I know that I don't serve no other purpose in this life but to preach this gospel. And that's it. I don't serve no other purpose. Once that purpose is complete, I'm going to die. Do you know what I'm saying? Anything else that he want me to do outside of that, that'll be done. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's the only purpose that I was born for. I wasn't born for no other reason than that. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's to bring esteem and honor to his name. Even people who go into hell is to bring esteem and honor to his name. Everybody gonna bring esteem and honor to his name. I don't care what you were born for. His name gonna get honored. Because they gonna know that Yahuwah is the living Elohim, that he created your black behind, his white behind, his red behind, that grass, that tree, them birds, that sky, and you gonna acknowledge it one way or another. Where we at, bro? Verse 18. See, that's what I be... Yeah, verse 16, Hebrews 16. That's why I be telling you, people don't love righteousness. This is like the brother was talking about today. Hebrews don't like accountability. Nigga don't like it. Nigga don't want to hear nobody tell them, that ain't what you supposed to do. That ain't how you supposed to live. Nigga want to sugarcoat and pussyfoot around with stuff, and that junk ain't doing nothing but lead nobody to hell. That's all it's doing. Ain't nobody getting no strength for Elohim. That's why when people, how many people we done seen who claim they was in the word face adverse situations and fainted? I don't care how big or how small they were, they fainted. He told you if you faint in the day of adversity, your faith was small. Niggas face adversity and fall out and faint. I'm talking about on a small scale. Y'all adversity way greater than what most people had to deal with. These niggas fall out because they lost their job. Now they don't want to serve y'all no more. These niggas fall out. My lady left me. My man left me. That's the dumbest thing in the world. So that's what your service was tied to? Do you know what I'm saying? Nigga don't believe in y'all. Niggas down with the team. That's all it is. They won't honor one from another. That's what nigga problem is. 16. For men truly swear by the greater, and the oath for confirmation is the end of them of all strife. Wherein Elohim willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of the promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things in which it is impossible for Elohim to lie, we might have a strong consolation or comfort or hope, who have fled for refuge to lay hold on the hope set before us, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, which enter into that within the veil, whither the forerunners for us entered Yahushua, who made a high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. See, when you're looking at fleeing for refuge, you fleeing from sin, you fleeing from death, and you're going to lay hold to the hope that all those that believe on Yahushua resurrect from the dead. That's your comfort. Psalms 119. I told you, I ain't worried about dying. These niggas scared to die. I told you before, you can't kill somebody who's ready to die. You can't kill something that's already dead. See, we dead to sin to live to Elohim. That's why I say we judge that if one died, we all dead. That mean if we all dead, that mean we'll all live just like he lived. But then these niggas be doing what y'all believe in a zombie. Your mammy do. She lay next to one every night. A dead nigga. Nigga talking about we believe in a zombie, let you niggas ain't got no life in you. So you undead, you stupid bastard. And everybody you believe in, love, and care about. See, I've been tamed for a good little long while. I ain't going hard like I might be able to do. I don't really want to, I just wanted to be a little bit more chilled out. But I can crank up, I ain't got no problem. I be feeling like that sometimes, because I see some niggas I want to spit in their face. I see some niggas I want to punch in their mouth. And the reason why I mentioned it, because I seen a brother talking about this yesterday about righteous anger. And I know exactly what he was talking about. I understand exactly how he feels. And I feel him on that. Now, I ain't going to walk around and punch nobody in the face, but I feel him, though. Yeah, you can read that in Mark chapter 3. Yahushua looked upon the people with anger in the heart because of the hardness of their hearts when he was healing that man with that withered hand. Do you know what I'm saying? The anger comes from that your heart is so hard and you so stubborn and you so wicked and you so unbelieving. That's what made Moses strike the rock instead of speak to it, because he was mad. He was mad because these people were so faithless and running their mouth and complaining and flogging and hypocrites and all this other stuff that nigga be doing. And that's why, and I felt with the brother come and see, we low key with all. We ain't known like that. So the brother was talking about, You know, you niggas don't call these niggas out. Well, I don't know all these niggas, and I ain't on all these niggas' scene to call nobody out. I ain't got no problem with it. Y'all already know that. I just like here. I don't like a wicked nigga. I don't like a fake nigga, and I don't like a hypocrite. Niggas disgust me to every level of life. Screw them niggas and everything they stand for. Psalms 119, verse 77. Let thy tender mercies come unto me that I may live, for thy Torah is my delight. Yahushua is that tender mercy. Let it come to you. Let the proud be ashamed, for they dealt perversely with me without a cause, but I will meditate in thy precepts. Let those that fear thee turn unto me, and those that have known thy testimonies. Let my heart be sound in thy statutes, that I be not ashamed. My soul faint for thy salvation, but I hope in thy word. My eyes fail for thy word, saying, when will thou comfort me? He asking when the comfort gonna come. Well, let's look and see when the comfort gonna come. Genesis 5 and 29. When is the comfort gonna come? After Genesis 5 and 29, Ecclesiastes chapter 7. See, I done dealt with a lot of things. I've been hungry, I've been naked, I ain't had no certain dwelling place. I wouldn't care what was going on. I done had people besmirch my character, say all type of things. And one thing for certain and two things for sure. I'm going to continue serving y'all. I'm going to continue to drop this word as long as I got breath in my lungs and my faculties are in order. I don't care who don't like me. I don't care what a nigga got to say to me. I'm talking about them niggas can eat a bag full of AIDS-infested penises as far as I'm concerned. Because that's how I feel about them. Because they faggots anyway. Feminine niggas. You know what I'm saying? Don't stand for nothing. Somebody put that. You know, I was telling Willie earlier, man. You know how wicked some niggas is? Niggas be looking for you to go through something so they can come through and tell niggas they was there for you. When really all they want to do was sit back and see you, hope you were falling apart so they can go around and talk about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Nigga don't really care about nobody for real. Nigga just really be flogging, thinking nigga don't know you fake. I know you fake. I see it from a mile away. But I'm going to let you keep thinking you a real nigga. You wasn't a real nigga when you were born. You wasn't a real nigga when the doctor slapped you on your butt. You wasn't a real nigga when your mama raised you because you was raised by a flawed nigga. So what else was you going to be? You wasn't going to be nothing else but that. That's how I see it. Because the devil a flawed nigga, so you fit right in with him. Part of his family. That's how I see it. I don't care how a nigga feel. Do you know what I'm saying? I think saying told you about it, wicked nigga running up praying for a nigga. Keep them prayers to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You need somebody to pray for you to stop being stupid. Straight up and down. Nigga, I don't want that junk nigga because you're not real. You don't well, you know the most disgusting, vile thing you could ever see? That's somebody who ain't really about what they profess to be. And I mentioned that I was talking to my oldest brother, and he was telling me, man, I never knew Pops walked around with the RBG flag on his police uniform for 25 years. You know what I'm saying? I never realized Pops stood on the front of the memorial building and spoke RBG principles in front of all these people. He said he didn't even know Pop had all these death threats, all the people in the city he was suing, and he stood on that to the day that he died. He was the same dude every day. Not when it was convenient for him, not when somebody was looking. Did he make mistakes? Absolutely. If Pop's going to hell? Absolutely. But nevertheless, on a natural level, he was a stand-up dude. I'm thankful I had that in my DNA before Yahuwah revealed itself unto me. You know what I'm saying? My mama done made mistakes, but she was who she was. She never pretended to be something other than what she was. And my auntie didn't either. But you got niggas who've been raised by some of the flawest, fakest individuals in the world. That's how you know they ain't from y'all. That's why y'all said them to have that type of DNA in them. See, I look at stuff like that. Is it scriptural? Maybe, maybe not. That's just my perspective. Everybody's entitled to it. I don't know if y'all look at it that way. That's how I see it. I hate a fake nigga. Just be who you is. If you wicked, be wicked. Ain't that what he told you in Revelation 22? If you're filthy, let him be filthy still. If you're Kadesh, let him be Kadesh still. Just be who you is. Don't play with it. The triumph of the wicked, the hypocrite is short. And just joy ain't but for a moment. Nevertheless, Genesis 5:29. I just need to get that off my chest for a moment. 28. Lamech lived 182 years and begat a son, and he called his name Noah. And this saying shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahuwah have cursed. So he said Noah is going to comfort us. Now, of course, we done went over this before, and I'm not going to go great detail, but let's go on here to John chapter 4. Like I said, Ecclesiastes 7 first. Let me get Ecclesiastes 7 first. Praise Yah for the word. We ain't but 49 minutes in. You know, it wasn't planned, but it would need it. She living her life. I know what her name is. What's your name is? What is that? That's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. I got the verse in my head, but that's not what I wanted. Let me see if that chapter 6, what I'm thinking about. See if that chapter 6. If not, I'm just gonna tell you what, say somebody find it, they just gonna find it. When Ecclesiastes 7, he spoke about those who needed comfort. So I'm trying to recall the verse, but it escapes me at this present time. I praise the Lamb. Ecclesiastes chapter 4. So I returned to consider all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. So he said he's seen the tears of those that were oppressed. Let's take ourselves over here to Luke chapter 8. He said the tears of those that were oppressed. Let me read again. I want you to follow me. He saw the tears of them. We're going to still get Matthew chapter 9. He saw the tears of them that were oppressed. He he considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun. He behold the tears of such that were oppressed. They didn't have a comforter. And on their side, their oppressors, there was power, but they had no comforter. Now we just seen that it said that Noah was to comfort the ground which who have cursed. So you sitting back looking at it, your oppressors got power. So we need to look at how the oppressor had the power removed and how those who were oppressed had tears because they didn't have nobody to comfort them. Let's come over here to Luke chapter 8. You got, and that's what the brother was talking about on the line earlier. I feel because there's a lot of niggas out here oppressing women. Ain't nothing but a weak man walk around and oppress a woman. You got to have something seriously wrong with you. Luke 8 and 40. You got to have something, and we'll kill two birds with one stone. Praise the Lamb. We kill two birds with one stone. Luke chapter 8 wasn't all the thing I want. I'll get Luke 8, and then I'll turn around and get, what is it, Luke 18? Well, let me get to Luke 18 first. Or is it Luke 12? Let me find what I want. But like I was saying, though, you got to be a weak bastard to oppress a woman. You want to stop a woman from doing stuff. You want to beat on her. You know what I'm saying? You want to cheat on her. You a weak bastard. Talking about you serve the living Elohim. Ain't no serving that y'all gonna do nothing like that. What type of nigga is that? I never understood that. I didn't understand that before the word. How you could sit back and cheat on your wife and look in the face and tell her you love her? You lying bastard. How could you look a woman in the face and put your hands on her and tell her you love her? You punk bastard. You know what I'm talking about? Don't make no sense. We supposed to be manifesting the power of Elohim, not causing people to blaspheme it. Let me find what is this app that I'm looking for, man. It does it to me every time. Every time I forget where it's at. And I want to read it to you right off the page, no paraphrase. We still got Luke 8, but I needed something else. And what I'm thinking about. Let me find it. If I can find it, we might can make a move. Good grief. Luke 8 ain't what we got to deal with. Luke 8 ain't what it is. We got Luke 8 and 40. Just hold bear with me, man. You know I'm old. I forget stuff sometimes. That was that food in there that was doing that? And there it is. At least it wasn't nobody body. You remember that spot at, man, it's escaping my brain, where he healed the woman with the issue of blood. You remember what I said? I don't remember what I said. Oh, there we go. I got it. Well, we'll get Luke chapter 13 and 10 while he try to find that for me. Nope, yep, that's what I got right there. Was that it? No, that's a different one. But we'll lose Luke 13 and 10. We'll get to the other one in a moment. And he was teaching in one of the synagogues on Shabbat, and behold, there was a woman which had a ruach of infirmity 18 years, and was bowed together, and could no wise lift up herself. And when Yahushua saw her, he called her to him, and said unto her, Woman, thou art loose from thine infirmity. And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight and esteemed Elohim. And the ruler of the synagogue answered with indignation, because that Yahushua healed on Shabbat, and said unto the people, There are 6 days in which men ought to work, and in them therefore come and be healed, and not on Shabbat. And the master then answered and said, Thou hypocrite, doth not each one of you on Shabbat loose his ox or his ass from the stall and lead him to watering? Ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, whom Hashatan hath bound, this good enough, lo, these 18 years be loose from this bond on Shabbat? And when he said these things, all his adversaries were ashamed, and all the people rejoiced for all the esteemed things that were done by him. The other spot we were looking at where Yahushua said the same thing with the woman that had the issue of blood, and he said the same thing. Matthew 9, come over here, Matthew chapter 9. Let me see if Matthew 9 got real one. I know it wasn't Luke. Let's see if I can use Matthew 9. No, that ain't what I want. That's the story, but that ain't the one. That's not the account that I want. Because the account that I'm talking about in Luke, he said the same thing. This woman who Hashatan is bound. Because he is the oppressor, he has power. He had power to oppress, and she didn't have no comforter. We see in Luke 13, Yahushua came through to be her comforter. Even with the woman who had the issue of blood, we see Yahushua came through and was her comforter because she was bound or she was oppressed. Come over here to Luke chapter 8 and 4. If you can find that one in Luke, though, I greatly appreciate it. It's escaping me at this present time. I think it's Luke 13 or Luke 16. Oh, that clearly ain't Luke 13. I just read that.
Oh, let's see. That was Luke 8.
And it probably is in Luke 8. I don't know. Luke 8 and 40. Luke 8 and 40. And it came to pass that when Yahushua was returned, the people gladly received him, for they were all waiting for him. And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was a ruler of the synagogue, and he fell down at Yahushua's feet and besought him that he would come into his house. For he had one only daughter, about 12 years of age, and she lay a dying. But as he went, the people thronged him. And the woman having an issue of blood, 12 years, which had spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any, came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood stanched. Yahushua said, Who touched me? When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude thronged thee and pressed thee, and say thou, Who touched me? Yahushua, somebody have touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. And when the woman saw that she was not hit, she came trembling and falling down before him. She declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. He said unto her daughter, Be of good comfort, thy faith has made thee whole. Go in shalom. Again, you see the thing that caused her to be able to be in good comfort. And it's the faith, it's the belief in Elohim. She had to believe that he even had the power to do it. He didn't even turn around and do it for her. But yet she was healed, and that she got comfort. Nevertheless, while he yet spake, there came one of the ruler of the synagogue's house, saying to him, Thy daughter is dead, trouble not the master. But when Yahushua heard it, he answered him, saying, Fear not, believe only, she shall be made whole. And when he came into the house, he suffered no man to go in, save Peter, James, and John, and the father and mother of the maiden. And all wept and bewailed her. But he said, Weep not, she is not dead, but sleep. They laughed him to scorn, knowing that she was dead. And he put them all out and took her by the hand and called, saying, Maid, arise. And her ruach came again. And she rose straightway. And he commanded to give her meat. And her parents were astonished, but he charged them that they should tell no man what was done. Now I'm going to ask y'all a question, right? He told her to do what? What did he say to her? What he told the little girl to do? I just read it. What did he tell the little girl to do? When he went in that room with that little girl with Peter, James, and John, he took her by the hand and he told her to do what? He told her to arise or get up. Then it said her breath came back in her. But I want to ask all the question. We'll see. I'll ask you first, D. It said after her ruach came in, and he commanded that she got meat. Why do you think he commanded that she should get some meat? Something to eat. Why do you think he commanded that? Why do you think he commanded that, Sarah?
Why you told her to eat the meat?
After her breath came back in her, he commanded that she should to give her meat or give her something to eat. Why do you think he commanded that?
Because the word is fulfilling.
I could give you that. What about you, son? What you say, man?
I don't know.
You don't know? You got an idea over there, Shirley? You trying to tell me? Very well then. Let's take a look at something, right? Let's go back to John chapter 5. And then I think it's...
What you was reading, Luke?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Bye bye. Let's go and get for the people. Let's go and get John 5 while he mulling that over. I know, baby. John 5, what? I start at verse 25. Let's pick it up at 26. For as Abba have life in himself, so if he given to his son to have life in himself. He's given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, and they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. Now we're going to be rudimentary. We don't have to be rudimentary, but I'm going to choose to do so. Let's go to Daniel chapter 12. Because he said, remember, he took the maid by the hand and told her to do what? Arise. She heard his voice. She got up. It said the Ruach came back in her, and he commanded that she be given meat. So let's look at Daniel chapter 12. Daniel 12 and 2. Let's look at what it says. Make it 12 and 1. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. Praise God for the word. I go longer than I anticipate. It don't make no difference. If you love the word, you ain't gonna care. At that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which stand for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such was never since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. They that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Now, the reason I'm doing this, I got to grab a couple more promises of resurrection that I would hope that most of you already know. So again, we see how some will be resurrected from the dead. Let's take a look at Job 14. We already seen a promise in Isaiah. We seen a promise in Zechariah. We see the promise right here in Daniel. Let's take a look at Job. All these doggone emails. Goodness grief. You got to have hope. After Job 14, come on to Hosea 14. I'm feeling good. Let's get these promises. Let's get the promises. And then y'all should know we'll hit Job 19 eventually, because that's the strongest of the strongest, if you didn't know. Job 14 and 1. Not 14 and 1. I don't want to use that. Job 14 and what? 14 and 5. Make it 14 and 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. You see what he just said right here? What you take from that verse 5 right there, sir? Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Job 14 and 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. You got idea in Deidre? You got something, bro?
That's talking about.
It ain't that.
That's talking about. He already had. It was already pre-sought out at the time that he'd be on earth to do his work.
That's anybody though.
Yeah, yeah.
That's anybody though.
Yeah.
Your days are determined. Your number of months are with Yahuwah.
I was looking at the marshal when they said he appointed his bounds.
He appointed his bounds. He can't pass. He wasn't going to live. You ain't going to live one day longer. You ain't going to live one day shorter. However amount of time he gave you, that's what you're here for. Period. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're here for. It's already been determined how long you're going to be here for. That's why I told you your purpose is your purpose. Once your purpose is done, you out of here. He done already determined it. That's it. Listen what he said. Turn from him that he may rest till he accomplish as a hireling his day. Now, when he say turn from him, now again, that's what you mentioned, right? That's a Mashiach. He had a set time. Because what did he say? My hour is what? At hand. Son of Man got to be delivered in the hand of sinners. His numbers and his months were determined. You know what I'm talking about? And he wasn't going to go past it. He knew it was his time. He told his apostles in Matthew 26, it's time, Son of Man going to be killed in a couple of days. I'll resurrect from the dead, though. But then he said turn from him, because that's what Yahushua did. He had turned from his Elohim to become sin for the people that he could get rest, because he was a hireling. Remember, that take you back to Issachar. Elohim is giving me my hire. What did he pay him for? For being faithful. He rose him from the dead. Remember, what did he tell you about Issachar? He was a strong ass couching down between two what? Burdens. And he saw that what? Rest was good. And he said Elohim rested on the Shabbat and he was what? Refreshed, resurrected. There's hope. See those promises of resurrection? There's hope. See right, it said, for there is hope of a tree. If it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that the tender branch thereof will not cease. And that's what that's taking us back to another promise of the resurrection of the dead. What did the watchers say in Daniel? What did he tell them they were supposed to do to that tree? Cut it down and leave what? The stump, so it could do what? Grow back. Though the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stock thereof die in the ground, yet through the sin of water it will bud and bring forth boughs like a plant. So when you sit back and you say the scent of water or the scent of the Ruach or Mashiach offered himself as a sweet smelling savor that we ought to walk in love, like Paul wrote in Ephesians 5:1. But man die and waste away, yea, man give up the ghost, and where is he? As the waters fail from the sea and the flood decay and dry up, so man lie down and rise not till Shamahim be no more. They shall not awake nor be raised out of their sleep. Oh, that thou would hide me in the grave, and thou would keep me secret until thy wrath be past, and that thou would appoint me a set time and remember me. If a man die, shall he live again? All the days of my appointed time will I wait till my change come. Thou shalt call, and I will answer. Thou will have a desire to the work of thy hands. Do you see that this man say he'll stay in the grave till he's seen what? Till his what come? Till his change come. Then he said, you'll call me and he'll do what? Answer. When he called for Lazarus, Lazarus answered, right? When he called for the maid, she answered, right? So what resurrected? That's why it said that when he called for her, what came in her? The spirit, right? So the breath that he took back, he brought it back. Because remember, he said there was those who were oppressed and they have no comforter. And the oppressor had power. And let's go look at Hebrews chapter 12 to see who your oppressor is and what the power was and how it was taken from him. Praise y'all for the word. That's all I can tell you. That's why he said you ain't supposed to be around here sorrowing like people who ain't got no hope.
What's that? Thessalonians?
I ain't even got past verse 13 of Thessalonians. I'm going to get there eventually. Y'all be faithful. He always faithful. Hebrews 2:14. It says, for as much then as the children are partakers of the flesh and blood, he also likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage or subject to oppression. This is why Yahushua said that the truth shall set you free. We ain't never been in bondage to any man. He that sinned is the servant of sin. And if the Son shall set you free, you shall be free indeed. What is he freeing you from? Death. That's your hope. That's your comfort. Now see, turn around and look at something, right? Remember, right, he said your oppressor had power and you ain't have no comfort. Now Yahushua has destroyed. Let's look at Acts 10:42 so you can see that the devil is your oppressor. Because who wanted to oppress Job? It wasn't Yah, it was Satan wanted to oppress him. That's why if you see anybody oppressing anybody, you know they are the devil. Nigga around here oppressing women and children. What type of nigga is that? Talking about he godly. Godly where? Godly to who? What gods you talking about? It's gods a minute. Ten and 34. Act 10 and 34. See, nigga better be lucky y'all just got me in the spot that he got me in. And that we just preaching the gospel to those who desire to be saved. Because I make these niggas kill me by saying nothing other than what the words say. You wicked, no good bastard. I ain't gonna give niggas no pass because they well known or they part of organizations that niggas like. If a nigga sour, the nigga sour. Nigga need to grow some nuts. That they need to do. Zechariah stood in front of them in Chronicles and said, why do you round here say you ain't gonna prosper because you disobeying the word of Elohim? All you niggas worried about he waking people up to the knowledge of they Israel. Nigga, they going to hell with him, you dumb bastard. He said you making them 2-4 more the child of hell than you is. And you niggas don't care. Because he waking people up. He telling people they Israel. Nigga around, he told me the earth was flat. And you going to hell on your flat earth, you stupid bastard. Do you know what I'm saying? This what you worry about? It's about the truth, brother, and waking up to the lie. Well, if you still committing sin, nigga, you in the biggest lie it is because you thinking you got life and you dead. But nobody want to have that conversation. Just like the brother say, if you around here talking about salvation, don't nobody want to listen. Let's talk about if a nigga can have more than one wife. These niggas is like roaches. Oh yeah, brother, nigga can't take care of himself. You want to take care of 3 women? Nigga, you ain't got enough energy to satisfy 3 women. Most of these niggas can't even pleasure one. But you want another one, and another one, and another one. With the subsequent children that's going to come from that. But one thing I don't like about these niggas, this nigga ain't told no lie. Now, you know I ain't big on no ketubas, but I ain't mad. At least a nigga got enough sense to put their marriage in writing. These dumb niggas talking about we got vows. We married before y'all. And if you go for that, you the dumbest hoe in captivity. If you let a nigga get your booty without an agreement.
Well.
Hey, but when you know better, you do better. You ain't know better. Some of these hoes know better.
Wow.
At least she honest.
In my phone.
In my But that's for real. That's what these niggas be out here doing. Nigga just say, we married before y'all, baby. Now spread them legs. You can't be that stupid. Didn't y'all put his marriage agreement on paper? That's always been the Hebrew way. We got to put that in writing, nigga. That's not enforceable. Because you talking about we married. Married to who? The brother made a strong point. Them niggas say sex is marriage. I get Lot married their daughters then.
Oh.
Get what? I guess Judah married Tamar then. Huh? Nigga can't be that stupid. Don't y'all women let these niggas flim flam you out your precious your vagina precious. You can't be around there giving that to any and everybody. You understand something? That was an honorable thing for a woman to be a virgin in times past. And these niggas walk around here acting like talking down on women like this here. Nigga, you know you ain't marrying no virgins, nigga. So shut your mouth. Some of them niggas ain't virgins. I ain't talking about with no woman. But because they act like they like men. Cool. I ain't being funny or nothing. I'm dead serious.
Not look grateful.
Who? How these niggas talk bad about women? How they hate women? Boy, if a nigga talk bad, he got to be gay.
That's so crazy that you said that. 'Cause I was listening to this podcast and the lady was basically saying that times now people be trying to evolve. So some women supposed to evolve into accepting men that have slept with other men but aren't gay.
Yeah, man. Nigga got to be gay. I love women, boy. You know what I'm saying? You know why? Because I got a mama. I had an auntie. I had a grandma. So you know what I'm saying? I can't count my other grandma. I ain't really know her. I got sisters. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 sisters. I got 3 blood nieces. You know what I'm saying? I got women who I love dearly. All that talking about cussing them out, putting your hands on them, calling them out their name. You niggas ought to die a slow, sick death. Because guess what? When your daughter come to you talking about a nigga did it like that, now you want to go do something to somebody. When a nigga ought to been coming to do something to you.
They probably be like, well, what you said?
I hope he don't. Then he ought to die again. Then these nigga walk around here, the nigga woman, she ain't this and she ain't that. That nigga kissing men in the dark.
That was talking about the nigga woman.
That's what they say, ain't it?
He said what?
They say the nigga woman. The nigga woman don't want to. All these niggas, I done told y'all this before, all the niggas scream the nigga woman won't submit. Because ain't who's gonna submit to you, nigga? You ain't got a job. You ain't got a job, nigga. You know what I'm saying, nigga? You live in a tent. I seen a nigga in the store today with his fringes on. That nigga t-shirt was so dusty. How you get in the word all of a sudden like this here now? You nigga done lowered your standards. You don't want to bathe no more. You don't want to wash your hair. You know what I'm talking about? You don't want to moisturize your beard. You don't want to clean your sneakers, change your drawers. Nothing.
100%, 100% earth, baby.
No deodorant, baby.
No deodorant. I just heard somebody say you ain't supposed to wear no deodorant because you ain't supposed to be musty. And they might be right. They talking about as forth as you die. And they could be right. I don't know enough information on that to say they wrong. They were saying if you eat properly, you know what I'm saying? Eat clean or basically a borderline vegan diet with less meat. But no, they saying that your perspiration won't have an odor. But I certainly believe. Yeah, I know you're supposed to sweat, but I definitely.
You ain't gonna stink when you sweat.
You ain't gonna stink.
You just gonna be sweaty.
You just gonna be sweaty.
Friction, bro.
I'm just saying.
I was just about to say,
That
I
sweat
don't
and
know what
thighs up together.
Hey, look here. I don't know enough
That's
information.
moisture and friction, brother.
Hey,
That's must.
they talking about the underarm. I know full well the nuts gonna get stank. I don't care what you talking about.
I don't care what you can't.
You ain't gonna convince me of
You can't
that.
exclusive.
You ain't gonna convince me of that. It's 100 degrees in Florida, boy.
Yeah, okay. So,
With humidity.
well, there's under your arm, under your neck.
Look at what. Guess what? If your underarm don't be musky, I bet you that giant and them balls gonna be stank.
Exactly. So,
And them titties gonna be stank too.
yeah.
Smell like sourdough
That
bread.
under seat.
you say, yeah.
They gonna smell like straight sourdough bread.
So, shoot, I don't care.
You know what I'm
You could be
saying?
on a water diet, fasting.
Straight up and down.
Straight must.
But guess what? Guess what though? Guess what though? I don't think some of these niggas even bathe how they be looking. These niggas look like they smoke rocks. You know what I'm saying? Well, our forefathers ain't. Nigga can't convince me my forefathers walk around here looking like they smoke rock. But them rules were big on being clean, wasn't they?
Yeah.
They were big on that. Let me get off of that, leave these black people alone.
What happened when you live life?
Yeah, I know a nigga living their best life. They want to smile, nigga. Smile.
I was talking about mother.
They gonna smile at
She
hell.
was she was stranded with my grandma. I said she was good.
Oh, no.
She got to experience life today.
Oh no, she was stranded on the side of the road.
She got a little life experience.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Shoot, she act like she been around here 10 extra years than she been. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth I perceive that Elohim is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that fear him and work righteousness is accepted with him. The word which Elohim sent unto the children of Yasharal, preaching shalom by Yahushua HaMashiach, he is master of all. The word I say ye know, which was published throughout all Yehuda and began from Galilee after the immersion which Yachanan preached. How Elohim anointed Yahushua of Nazareth with the Ruach HaKadosh and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for Elohim was with him. Because that's that oppressor. Let me read that Ecclesiastes chapter 4 for you just one more time. He said, I return to consider all the oppressions that are done under the sun. Behold, the tears of such were oppressed. They had no comforter on the side of their oppressors. There was power, but they had no comforter. So your oppressor had power. We know Yahushua died to take that power back from your oppressor. You ain't got no business. If you ain't living in sin no more, you ain't got no business letting this man oppress you. That's why he said, Baruch are those that mourn, for they shall be comforted. You had tears because of your oppressor. Now you got comfort. That comfort being Yahushua HaMashiach in his word. But again, we looking at this little girl. He told her that Ruach came in and he told her, commanded that she be given meat. Let's see why. Luke chapter 16. Praise y'all for the word. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm going to tell you. Praise y'all for the word. Praise y'all for Yahushua and for salvation and for the resurrection of the dead if you ain't know. Let me make sure I got the right spot. I got to read the right spot now. I be forgetting. It might be Luke 14. Let me see. It ain't Luke 14. That's all the nigga gonna do. You know the word part is what niggas do when somebody die? Nigga pull all the unclean beasts they can find, all the alcohol they can find, and all the narcotics they can find, talking about they done gone to be with the Lord. They watch, he looking down on me. Y'all looking down on you like this here. You nigga, that nigga ain't up here with me and you going to hell. You keep on the pace you're going. Put that crap down. Junk ain't pleasing me, boy. That was wrong with people. Junk ain't pleasing me, boy. You around here doing all this stuff. Boy, I'm not pleased with that. Luke 14:15. That's what I want. Did he tell the little girl, he commanded the little girl she should get some meat, right? Look what it say, right? And when one of them sat at meat with him and heard these things, matter of fact, back this up. 14:12. Let's do it like that. Then he said also to him that bade him, when thou make a dinner or supper, call not thy friends, nor thy brethren, neither thy kinsmen, nor thy rich neighbors, lest they also bid thee again, and a recompense be made thee. But when thou make a feast, call the poor, the maimed, the lame, and the blind. And thou shalt be Baruch, for they cannot recompense thee, for thou shalt be recompensed at the resurrection of the just. Why do y'all think in verse 13 he say when you make a feast to call the poor, the maimed, the lame, and the blind? Why do you think he made that reference? But you know who that's calling? Those are those who are oppressed. You know what I'm saying? Call the humble and afflicted, the maimed, the lame, and the blind. He said they can't pay you back. But you know what this also is dealing with? Paul, let me show you what it's dealing with. Look.
About them leaving them, not giving them no bill. Leaving something like that for.
Come over here to Romans chapter 4. I'm going to show you what they're dealing with. When they came out of Mizraim, what he called them to the wilderness to do?
Trying.
No. When they were coming out of Egypt, what did he say we wanted to leave out of Egypt to go do? To make a feast, right? And to eat and make a sacrifice for our Elohim. And who did he call out? He called out those who were afflicted. And he called them out. Could any of them pay Yahuwah back for the feast he was going to make for them? Well, let's look at why he said that there. I got a reference to instance in the law. That's why I did that there. See, look what he said, right? Romans 4:1. What shall we say then that Abraham our father as pertaining to the flesh hath found? For if Abraham were justified by works, he had whereof to esteem, but not before Elohim. For what saith the scripture? Abraham believed Elohim, and it was counted unto him for righteousness. Now to him that work is the reward, not reckoned of grace, but of debt. But to him that work not, but believe on him that justify the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. Even as David also described the blessedness of man unto whom Elohim impute righteousness without works, saying, Baruch are they whose iniquities are forgiven and whose sins is covered. Baruch is the man to whom Yahuwah will not impute sin. So when he tell you that you'll be Baruch, because they cannot recompense thee, but you'll be recompensed at the resurrection of the just. Who did Yahushua say he came to serve? He said he came, he said, I didn't come to call the righteous to repentance, but sinners. So those sinners couldn't repay him, could they? This is where you turn around and you look at what he say works can't save you, because that means he owed you. So that's why he told you don't call your kinsmen or your brethren or your rich neighbors, because they can pay you back. But call those who can't pay you back. Those who will be indebted unto you because of what the mercy you showed unto them. And you'll get, that's why Yahushua got resurrected at the end. Because you know that war, what I told you earlier. I show mercy unto the merciful. Look at verse 15. And one of them that sat at meat with him heard these things and said unto him, Baruch is he that shall eat bread in the kingdom of Elohim. Now he rose that little girl from the dead, and what he commanded for to have. So what is that showing us? Revelation 19. Revelation 19:5. And a voice came out of the throne saying, Praise our Elohim, all ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard as it was a voice of a great multitude, as the voice of many waters, and the voice of mighty thundering, saying, Hallelujah, for Yahuwah Elohim omnipotent reign. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the Chesed. And he saith unto me, Right, Baruch are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. Did he call that little girl and told her to get up? He saith unto me, These are the true sayings of Elohim, and she had supper. So now you see why he commanded for her to get meat. Because he was showing you that little girl was called to the resurrection of life to eat it. Now, why did I do that? Because that was a little girl who died, right? Now, I want you to come over here to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. After 1 Corinthians chapter 7, what is we got left? I'm good. I'm good in Psalms 119. We just got 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. I'm finna get ready to wrap it up. I appreciate everybody this evening, though. I promise I do. Where I say I was going to? Oh yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 7. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 9. Now I seen a brother talk about this here, right? And you know what I'm saying? And I've always said this. Lady was saying that her husband was beating on her and should she stay. Dude say, sis, you gotta stay with him. We ain't in the world. Now the nigga who said that is a full-fledged idiot. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling y'all women right now, and you men too, boy, if your mate is putting their hands on you, you need to go. Because that is not the love of Elohim. Now, one thing for certain, two things for sure now, you done married the nigga, you can't marry nobody else while they living. Now that part, I'm staunch on that. Because I told somebody, so you saying she's supposed to stay? I ain't saying she wasn't supposed to stay nowhere. I just said she got to be Kadesh in body and spirit. That's all law. All that getting married and marrying somebody else while you're made alive, I don't believe in that. But best believe, get away from that nigga, he putting his hands on you.
But does that mean that even if he asks her to do something, she got to do it, or what? Is that kind of like cancel everything? I was just asking.
Nah, what
You
it,
can get divorced though, according to the word.
you just can't remarry.
So once you divorce,
Right.
you still not, you not under.
Oh no, you're not under. If you apart from them, you're not under their authority until you reconcile.
Right, right.
Okay. No,
That's what she was asking.
Yeah. You're not under their authority until you reconcile.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's a difference between y'all not having no divorce though. Right?
No who? Now, whether you divorce, separate, if you decide to depart because this nigga beating on you, he ain't got no authority over you. You know what I'm saying?
But that's still another more of the contract.
No, it don't make null. But guess what? Y'all contract wasn't even null and void because he made a new one. He renewed what was already said. He ain't tossed it in the trash. That was still his wife. But guess what though? I'm finna read it to you though. But if they depart, you separated from that person if they depart. And therefore those rules and regulations of authority no longer stand.
I thought you had to do divorce. Because now you're saying just because.
No, because he finna read that.
Oh, go ahead.
Because even when we separated from Yah, we were still under his authority.
Right. That means we still supposed to follow his rules.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But at the same token, you was put away.
But that means you still have to follow his rules.
You know what I'm talking about? But says what though?
I'm just trying to make
Nah, and when it come to Yah though, but at the same time, he also wasn't holding up his end of the contract on you because he turned his face from you.
Yeah, he want to provide for you.
No, I ain't doing nothing for you. You know what I'm saying?
So that means you don't have to pay me
No, he ain't say that. No, I mean, see, no, what I'm saying, like, it's a catch-22 when you looking at how he operated with it versus with two individuals. Because you can separate from your mate, but you're not under his authority that you have to obey.
At this time, so now you're saying how y'all did it. If I separate from my mate, I don't have to be responsible for her basic needs.
But you would show yourself righteous if you did so.
I know. I'm just.
You know what I'm saying? You would show yourself righteous if you did so. Would a nigga say you was wrong if you didn't? No, you ain't wrong. At the same token, you ain't righteous either though. You're not a just man. End of the bargain. You're not a just man. Because even y'all still held up his end of the bargain. He still provided. Because he said his tender mercies fail not lest we be consumed. He ain't allowed to be consumed.
Right. We still had our daily bread. It might not have been the bread we wanted.
In the place you wanted to eat it, but you still got it. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm letting it be known right now. Well, that nigga put his hands on you, but you need to get out.
Regardless, he can hold up his end or not.
Bargain or not, because he ain't holding up his end of the bargain because y'all love, protect, and provide. He's gentle and good, full of truth. Nigga ain't gentle and good talking about putting 5 knuckles upside your head. Hey, I tell you like this here. I don't condone violence. Shoot, punch that nigga back in his mouth though. He got a nerve to put his hands on you, but bust that nigga in the head with iron. Kill him, do something. Shoot, he trying to shoot. That's what he ought to get. Nigga put his hands on the woman, he ought to die.
So I can kill him?
I ain't saying you ought to kill nobody. I just said he ought to die.
I mean, if you hit him and he died, then it's not your fault.
They put their hands on you.
I won't go to hell. Is that in that case?
That ain't murder, that's self-defense.
I was gonna say that like what they call it in the law.
Well, in our law, that ain't involuntary manslaughter. That's simply, you ought to die. You ought to die.
No, I'm talking about
Yeah, that's a manslaughter. In our law, it's just they got to prove it wasn't no malintent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I meant to hit that nigga with that iron. I'm talking about, boy, don't you sit there and let nobody put their hands on you. You know what I'm saying? Men too, because there's some women out here like to put their hands on men. Don't let that woman but shoot, pick her up, drop her on the back, and get out the house. Come back for your stuff later. That's what they accusing LaShawn McCoy of, sending a nigga to beat up his ex-girlfriend, because she wouldn't move out the house and give her jewelry back. Shoot, let her have that jewelry, let her have that house. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. 1 Corinthians 7:9, 7:8. Well, 7:9. Well, 7:8. I say therefore to the unmarried and widowed, it is good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. Unto the married I command, yet not I, but the master, let not the wife depart from her husband. But and if she depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife. That's all he say. If she leave now, don't you marry nobody else. You know what I'm talking about? Lest you be reconciled to your husband. He said, but to the rest speak I, not the master. If any brother have a wife that believe not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. See, a lot of people get upset. He's speaking his opinion. He told you he was speaking his opinion. He said, if you please to live with this sinner woman, you know what I'm talking about? Then by all means, do that. You know what I'm saying? And the woman which have a husband that believe not, if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. The reason why he's making this statement is because he would come and these are people who are just like we got now. One spouse hear the word and believe it, and the other don't. This ain't like in ancient times where both supposed to believe it when they got married. That's why it's better if you're not married to marry somebody who's solid in the word versus rolling the dice and marrying a nigga who you don't know. I'm just not sure. He say the woman which have a husband that believe not, if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now are they Kadesh. Now why did we read this here? Because clearly the man whose daughter who died, was he a believer? Because he was seeking out Yahushua, and people were trying to convince him not to. So this is what sanctified this girl to be Kadesh, to be resurrected from the dead because of the faith of her father. So now we turn around, and this is why I'm reading this 1 Corinthians chapter 7, because if you produce offspring that are offspring of a believing spouse, a believing parent, therefore they're sanctified. Therefore they can be resurrected from the dead and have Ruach breathed in them and be commanded to eat meat just like Yahushua told that little girl, right? So that's what we're looking at. We ain't like other people who don't have no hope. Reading up, I told you to look here at Isaiah 65, right? I told you that earlier. Isaiah 65. I know I'm at an hour and a half. I don't care. Shoot, I don't care if you got to go to work tomorrow. I got to go to work tomorrow, but shoot, I always go on a little bit of sleep. I got a job to do tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Y'all going to figure something out, or they going to get it done on Monday. $65.22. Matter of fact, 65 and 17. 65 and 17. For behold, I create a new Shamahim and a newer rats, and the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people, and the voice of weeping shall no more be heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that have not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build and another inhabit, and they shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and my elect shall enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth in trouble. For they are the seed of the Baruch of Yahuwah, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Now, you notice that we seen this here right here. He see they offspring and all that, right? Now, we talking about a new heaven and new earth. He going to make Yahushua done already came and got everybody. And if he done came and got everybody, people done already resurrected from the dead. So not only will grown people resurrect from the dead, but he said an infant. You think somebody coming in the kingdom of Elohim and having a baby? Because remember what we read in 1 Thessalonians, which we're about to finish. The dead in the Mashiach shall rise. Do you notice? It's 3 times children got resurrected from the dead, right? You got Elisha did it. You had Elijah do it. We got a Mashiach doing it. Now, why do you think that that's doing that? Why he's showing us that? Because it's not just adults. Do you know what I'm saying? Look at the woman who Elijah raised her son from the dead. Why? That was a widow woman, right? But she wasn't even a brew, was she? She was a Zidonian. But you know what she was? She was faithful. She was a believer. So it don't matter. See, because people always ask that about, you know what I'm saying? Well, what happens to children and this, that, then, the third? If your parents believe, you're straight.
I mean, what the other people count, the kids that were sick at the house, you said they'll be well by the time you get home.
Yeah. Talking about the little girl had the fever. And what did that father say? Help me thou with my unbelief. He believed him, but his faith was small. And remember I told you that a long time ago, he was humble enough to say, Yah, help me with that.
He knew that it was sufficient.
He knew it wasn't sufficient enough. I was thinking about the lady, the Canaanite woman. My daughter grievously vexed with a death. Remember what Yahushua said. If anybody offend these little ones that believe on me, a millstone ought to be hung from their neck. Remember, he said he's a child. He's a father to the fatherless and all that. It doesn't necessarily mean that if somebody's an orphan. But the point what I'm getting to is numerous times where Yahuwah showed mercy upon children, right? And throughout the word, right? So why would we think it would be any different on the last day? But the people who he showed mercy to are those children. What did their parents all have in common? They believed the word. They believed in Yahuwah and they followed him. They followed him. See, a lot of people, they don't follow Yahuwah, so they don't have that level of comfort. 1 Thessalonians 4. What is this? 1 Corinthians 15. Then we're going to go ahead, man. I'm at an hour and 40 minutes. I thank y'all for the word. So you see how we read when Yahushua said that he would raise people from the dead, right? Remember what he said in John 11:25? I am the resurrection and the life. Believe thou this? Let's go and get John 11:25 right now. Let's just go and get it. I don't even play with it. John 11:21, though. Matter of fact, come over here at 11:1. Ain't sin, ain't death or sickness. It's the sickness of what? The flesh. Because of sin, the sin of Adam, it's the sickness of the flesh. Look at what Yahushua finna say. Now, a certain man was sick named Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and his sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the master with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sister said unto him, saying, Master, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. When Yahushua heard that, the sickness is not unto death, but the esteem of Elohim, that the son of Elohim might be esteemed thereby. Remember what we were looking at in Job 14? When we were talking about this flesh? See, look, pause. Let's get to Job. I got to get Job 19:25 before we get up out of here. I got to do that. I remember the first time I read that. Struck me right in my soul. I felt it was real. 2009, that's the first time I ever read that. Reading it with some understanding, know what it meant. Make it Job 19:22. Make it 19:21. Have pity upon me, O ye my friends, for the hand of Elohim have touched me. Why do you persecute me as Elohim and are not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were now written, and oh, that they were printed in a book. They that were graven with the iron pen and laid in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see Elohim, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. Now you see why he say worms destroy this body? Because of the sickness of the flesh, because the flesh got to pass away. See, Paul, let's go to 1 Corinthians 15 right now. Now, let me not do that. I already got what I wanted out of that. Let's come back to the 21 where we was at. He say the sickness is not unto the death, but to the esteem of Elohim. So guess what? The sickness of this flesh is not unto death to those that believe. It's not unto death, man. Let's look what he said in verse 21. Then Martha said unto Yahushua, Master, if thou had been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of Elohim, Elohim will give it to thee. Yahushua saith unto her, Thy brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Yahushua said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believe in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. Whosoever live and believe in me shall never die.
Okay, so pause. Where she read it at?
It said the disciples didn't know that was written. Didn't say anybody else didn't know.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Written where? If they wrote the book,
Shoot.
if John,
What I just
I
read.
guess go Ezekiel.
What I just read in Job.
Yeah, you right. I'm sorry. I was. Yeah. Go ahead.
Among other places. 1 Corinthians 15.
Yeah. Sure.
That also shows not necessarily, like I said, it also shows that sometimes you got some women that are a lot more faithful in believing than some men. Because, you know, when the women came to the grave, you could see they believed off the rip. It was the men who were around there doubting. That's why dudes say the women could preach the word. Who did he send? He sent the women. Because the women was at the grave first, dumb nigga. That's why he sent them. Who else was he going to send? Ain't that's who they said was there? So who else the Malakim gonna send? Can't send Peter, he wasn't there. 1 Corinthians 15, right? Verse 45. And so it is written, make it verse 42. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in incorruption, it is raised in incorruption. It's sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in esteem. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There's a natural body and there's a spiritual body. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living nephash, and the last Adam was made a quickening ruach. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and after that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthy, and the second man is the master from Shamahim. As the earthy, such are they also that are earthy, and as is Shamahim, such are they that are of Shamahim. And we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of Shamahim. That's why Job wrote and said, till my change come when I'm called. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Elohim, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is Torah. But thanks be to Elohim, which give us the victory through our master Yahushua HaMashiach. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of Yahuwah, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in Yahuwah. And that's what Job was talking about in that Job 14 that we read earlier. So now when we come back to 1 Thessalonians 4 and 13, we finish with this. But I would have you not ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. We ought not to be sad. Why? For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will Elohim bring with them. We've seen that with those who resurrected with Yahushua when he resurrected from the dead, and the apostles saw him resurrect from the dead. For this we say unto you by the word of the master, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of the master shall not prevent or stop them which are asleep. For the master himself shall descend from Shamahim with a shout. We see that for him calling the young girl. See him calling Lazarus. And with the voice of the Ark Malachim, and with the trump of Elohim, and the dead in Mashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet Yahuwah or to meet the master in the air. So shall we ever be with the master. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. Because I mentioned Hosea 13 or 14 I get to, where he talking about that he would destroy death. Let's get it real quick. I might as well. I said it, I ain't get it. Ain't no sense of mentioning it, not reading. Hosea 14. No, Hosea 13. Verse 14. Make it 13. Make it 12, actually. The iniquity of Ephraim is bound up and his sin is hid. How is Ephraim bound up? Because they bound Yahushua up. Go read Matthew 27. How was his sin hid? They hid that sin when he came and he brought that cloud over him at the ninth hour, and it blotted out the sun. Sin hid because he became sin for our sake. Now he done hid it. The sorrows of a travailing woman shall come upon him. He is an unwise son, for he should not stay long in the place of the breaking forth of children. See how we read earlier that his days are appointed. Did he stay long? He didn't stay long. See, we go in that another time, more detail. I'm just saying, but listen what he said. I will ransom them from the power of the grave. I will redeem them from death. That's another place where she could have seen the resurrection of the dead. O death, I will be thy plagues, and O grave, I will be thy destruction. Repentance shall be hid from my eye. He's not going to turn from destroying death. And I will end it with death. Revelation chapter 20. His eyes ain't going to turn from destroying death. This our hope. And we're supposed to comfort each other with that. You know what I'm saying? That you're going to resurrect from the dead. We're supposed to comfort each other with that. Ain't that what he said? That's what we ought to do. Revelation 20 and 14, 20 and 11. And I saw a great white throne and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and Shamahim fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Elohim, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. And this is the second death. He's not going to turn from destroying death. So all time for our regularly scheduled program.